Where do you keep it, Trayce?
What am I keeping?
One more bucket or one more stop. Trayce Jackson-Davis. Oh! He put the entire country of France in the basket!
The poster on Wemby.
Just over a year ago, the Warriors selected a rookie out of Indiana with the 57th overall pick. 4 spots later, and Trayce Jackson-Davis would have been undrafted. After being sidelined for much of his college career, TJD would put up a performance in his final year that would draw the attention of scouts from the league's most storied franchise, the Golden State Warriors. Hey, what's happening, everyone? This is Swish Culture. Trayce was originally expected to be drafted much higher than his eventual slot of 57, and that never became more clear until the end of his rookie campaign. Being a former Hoosier, he expected to be drafted by the Pacers as a hometown player. However, when the Pacers passed on him 3 times with the 29th, 47th, and 55th overall picks, it was clear that he'd have to play elsewhere. Although he was born in Long Beach, California, so where's home for Trayce really? Luckily, the Warriors saw what was happening and made a trade with the Wizards to acquire the pick that would eventually be Trayce Jackson-Davis. The fact that he fell so far in the draft was shocking to many in his circle who knew of his talent. Why was this? We're talking about 21 points, 11 rebounds, 4 assists, and 3 blocks during a senior year campaign that had him as one of the best college players in the nation. Some were saying he was a lottery pick and would have been top 10 just a few years ago. After being drafted as the backup center for Kevon Looney, who's made considerable improvements over the last couple of years, it wasn't expected that Trayce would have much of an opportunity, but something happened to change all that. And boy was everyone wrong. To find out what happened, how TJD became one of the Warriors' best young players, and what he's been up to this offseason, be sure to watch the whole video. Before that, however, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to Swish Culture for the most analytical and entertaining NBA content on the planet. Now get ready. You're about to get Just recently, Trayce Jackson-Davis did an interview with Steiny and Guru on 95.7 FM, where he discussed his rookie season and offseason, as well as offseason plans. A few things said in that interview piqued my interest in reviewing his season and also give an update on what Trayce has been up to. So when Trayce first got to the league, having to play under Steve Kerr, it's already somewhat determined it would be tough to get significant minutes, least of all make it into the starting lineup. What made this even more difficult is the very reason he fell in the draft. Trayce Jackson-Davis was not seen as suitable for the modern NBA. What does that mean? He did not shoot threes while in college. Now, we did see him at the combine shooting threes and his shot looks good. So what gives? This was a directive from his coach, and barring any specific situation where he's outside the arc and the clock is running out, he passes the ball and either sets a screen or gets into the post. Whatever happens, shooting it wasn't an option. While this wasn't a bad strategy, the NBA is looking for shooters at every level and position, and a shooting center will always take precedence, all else being equal. It also didn't help that he was only 6'9". So he was a player that's on the smaller side for his position, without a proven skill that teams are looking for, playing under a coach who doesn't really develop young players and prefers to utilize players that don't typically play his position, a position he's locked into due to his seemingly limited skill set, and playing behind at least 2 other players who have helped this team win multiple championships while playing starting roles. This is to say that things didn't look good for Trayce from the jump, and he was going to have to put in the work and hope that some things go his way in order to have an impact. First order of operation, get into Steve Kerr's rotation. After playing in all 4 preseason games to start his rookie season with the Warriors, Trayce sat on the bench for 10 out of 25 games, stacking more DNP mixtapes than R. Kelly. The remaining 15 games he played marginal minutes, with exception to a few blowout games where he played over 10 minutes. At this juncture, Steve was jockeying between Draymond, Kevon, and Dario for minutes at the center position. What was the Warriors' record up to this point? 11-14. Now, during that period, they lost to the Oklahoma City Thunder 3 times and to the Timberwolves and Cavaliers twice each. All 3 teams are led by players under 27 and or with a younger supporting cast. Saric averaged 11 points, 6 rebounds, and 2 assists in 21 minutes throughout the first 25 games. Meanwhile, Kevon Looney averaged 8 points, 5.5 rebounds, and just under 3 assists in 22 minutes. But something happened right around the 25-game mark that changed the trajectory of TJD's rookie season.
Wait for the vets and stuff like that. I know Coach Kerr's old school, and he even came up to me early in the year. He said, "You're going to get a chance. You just got to take advantage of it," and that's what happened. And so,
Draymond had only played 15 games up to this point, having been suspended for 5 games earlier in the season and once more undergoing a secondary suspension 16 games into the season. After trying a few things that didn't work, it was time. With the 26th game of the season, Trayce Jackson-Davis would start seeing regular minutes on the floor, eventually leading to a few starts. He played the next 16 games in a row for the Warriors. The Warriors' record during those 16 games, 8-8. The Warriors went from a sub-500 team to a 500 team without Draymond and a rookie TJD coming in without much chemistry. Despite this, the rookie was putting up 11 points, 7 rebounds, 1.6 assists, and 1.2 blocks while shooting 71% from the field on less than 7 shots in 21 minutes. Second order of operation, become a staple in the lineup next to Draymond Green. With Draymond's return, the Warriors found a rhythm. While Trayce's minutes were somewhat reduced, he'd replaced Saric and Looney in the lineup at this point, averaging 8.5 points, 5.5 rebounds, and 1.3 blocks on 69% true shooting on just over 5 attempts in 18 minutes per game. He was a plus 13 in the lineup next to Draymond Green during this portion of the season, playing in 36 out of 40 games. Dario Saric was a minus 53 over the same period, playing just 23 out of 40 games. While Kevon Looney managed a plus 69, he only played 32 out of 40 games at just over 10 minutes per game, almost down to half the minutes Trayce played. It was clear that the Warriors had found the best center on the team. As the season came to a close, it was clear what needed to be done. With the impending free agency of Klay Thompson,
Wait a minute! Who are you?
the rise of Trayce Jackson-Davis and Jonathan Kuminga, the Warriors have some work to be done. If they were to benefit from these two, they're going to need players who can space the floor to allow TJD and Kuminga to be the best versions of what we'd seen this past season. In comes Buddy Hield, DeAnthony Melton, and Quinton Post. 3 players that Steve Kerr is willing to use who are able to supplant the Warriors' young players by providing outside shooting. One of the biggest reasons to give TJD big minutes this upcoming season is that he's currently one of the team's best defenders, providing decent rim protection and keeping guards out of the paint. One of the more notable things that came out of the season that we saw near the end was the chemistry developing between him and Klay Thompson. Klay's unselfishness allowed TJD to get a lot of open dunks. There's no reason why TJD in the starting lineup wouldn't benefit playing next to Draymond and Steph. Playing defense at a high level and shooting threes at a high clip are surefire ways to get into the Warriors starting lineup. As such, it becomes difficult to see a lineup with both JK and TJD beside Draymond without Kuminga improving one or the other. Considering the offense that the Warriors get from JK, however, along with his potential, I'm expecting he will likely get the starting nod. Also, considering that TJD will be 25 next season, a full 3 years older than Kuminga, the Warriors' best bet is to find a true stretch 5 who could potentially be the Warriors' starting center to allow Kuminga to play next to Draymond. This was the reason for taking a flyer on Post, but what this is telling me is that the Warriors plan on having Trayce as a backup center whose ceiling could allow him to play the same role Kevon Looney did in the Warriors' previous championships. For the offseason, TJD's been getting into the gym and working out with the team almost every day.
What's the number one thing you're working on this summer?
The biggest thing that I'm working on this summer is just being more versatile, attacking more, being more offensive minded, but at the same time on the defensive end of the floor, being able to guard 1 through 5, being able to switch and help my guys out in that way, and then just continuing to do the things that I already do well and just keep working on those.
However, near the beginning, he had gotten a ton of work in with Team USA, playing alongside some of the best players in the league. Both he and Pods played during the Summer League. In 26 minutes, Trayce had 13.5 points and 8.5 rebounds. Numbers seemed down from last year, however, he was only taking 6 shot attempts per game. This would be the more likely scenario for Trayce with Golden State in a more permanent role. As things settled for the Warriors, who are not opposed to making additional changes, lineups become even more clear. While I'm expecting the Warriors to start Curry, Pods, Wiggins, Kuminga, and Draymond, it's likely that Pods will also be running the second unit, being swapped out for Buddy Hield at the 2. Trayce is likely to come off the bench behind Draymond, and Post will likely get spot minutes unless Draymond is...
Oh, hey, both of them kept their cool.
Well, Draymond. I don't think Post will be any worse than Saric was last year, so I'm expecting with his unique skill set, he could really work his way up, possibly even into the Warriors starting lineup. This obviously gives Draymond a break, puts Kuminga easily into the starting lineup, giving the Warriors a player that can take full advantage of Steph Curry's gravity. The dark horse here is Moses Moody, who could see himself in the starting lineup at the 2, which could really turn this season into something special for the Warriors if Moody takes a leap come October. Be sure to post your thoughts on Trayce and where he should be in the Warriors lineup this coming offseason. Speaking of Moody, however, what's been going on in Moody's camp and where does this put him for next season? To find out, be sure to watch the next video. In order to do that though, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on all your notifications so you don't miss any of my latest uploads. Thanks for watching. Till next time, swoosh.